I've just hit a major savings milestone. I'm so excited that I couldn't wait for Friday's budget update video to share the good news. I'll tell you all about what I've done and what other big goals I'm going to be working on next. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel, we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today, I am going to be talking about savings. This is a midweek update, which I don't often do, but I had hit a significant milestone this week, so I decided I had to share it. Now, I was not planning on hitting this milestone in the middle of the week. It just kind of happened. And basically, what had occurred is that I got an Etsy payout that was bigger than my normal Etsy payout. So if you're not familiar with how Etsy works for sellers, they basically hold your money for a period of time. I think it's 3 weeks before it becomes eligible for payout. In that time, any money that you spend as a seller on Etsy, whether it's for listing fees or for ads or shipping or anything like that, is deducted from your available balance. So you're always kind of kicking out the funds that you receive from your sales for a few weeks at a time. So because I have my store on vacation currently, I got a much bigger payout because I wasn't spending money on shipping, or I did have some listings renew and whatnot, but by and large it wasn't like it has been. So when that money hit my bank account this morning, I thought I could fully fund my emergency fund. And then I thought, why not? That's what this channel is about financial security and things like that. And I'm so grateful to everyone who supports me through watching my videos and purchasing my products on Etsy. That really does mean a lot to me. So I thought it was fitting that I use an Etsy payout to fully fund the emergency fund. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot. And so, yeah, let's talk about those savings goals. So the emergency fund was my top savings goal for the year. And I'll just bring in a sheet here of my goals. And that, to be fully funded, that had to have $12,210 in it. And I'll talk a little bit later about how I arrived at that number. I've talked about it in the past, but we'll just go over it again here real quick. Now that that's fully funded, I'm going to focus on the next two goals, which are the BLIP fund and the Roth IRA. The BLIP fund I've already been working on kind of in the background. This is sort of on autopilot, where I'm putting in $200 out of every paycheck, and I get paid twice a month. So $400 a month is going into the BLIP fund. What the BLIP fund is for me is sort of a small stakes emergency fund. So it's not where it's a true dramatic emergency, like a job loss, an illness, the death of a relative, something that really stops life dead in its tracks. And it's something that has to be dealt with. That's going to take a lot of time, energy, and resources to overcome. A blip is just the little things that come up that you didn't maybe budget for, but then here it is. It's an unexpected expense, and you have to work it into your budget. And for me, I would rather just have a little pot of money that I can take from to fill in that hole, and then replenishing that becomes a priority in future months. So instead of using a credit card, I'm using my own essentially line of credit that I've given myself with money that I already have. So that's what the blip fund is. And I've decided that for me, a blip can be anywhere from $0 to $2,400. So I'm well on my way to that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too, because I was actually able to put more money in the blip fund as well. Next goal is Roth IRA, and this will be taking the place of the emergency fund as far as the savings go. So I've been using the money from Monday night game night to fund my emergency fund, and now that that is fully funded, I'm going to put that toward the Roth IRA. Because I haven't reached age 50 yet, the most that I can contribute to my Roth IRA this year is $7,000. I haven't contributed anything so far, so that's something that I want to get on to doing. $250 a week should take me then about 7 months to fully fund it. It's about $1,000 a month, $7,000, 7 months. So I should have that fully funded by the end of the year. After that, it's the big move. And the big move is where I want to move out of state. Now, I just moved within the state where I live, which is the state of Washington. I just did that move last week, but I already want to move again. And I knew that when I made this move. Part of the reason for making this move is that it lowers my cost of living. And by doing that, I'm able to put more money toward my goals, one of which is a move out of state. So that is a big long-term goal. Tentatively, late 2026 is when I'd like to do that, but we'll see what happens. I had initially budgeted $12,000 for that, but now I think I need to bump it up to $15,000, partly because we are still dealing with inflation, it is still present, and partly because of just how much this current move cost and the logistics of this current move. I think when I make my next move, probably what will happen is I will dispose of most of the things that I already own instead of dragging them across the country, and I will replace them at the other end. Just given how much this move has cost, doing that on a much larger scale, I don't think is cost effective with the amount of possessions that I have and what I have. My furniture isn't fancy. I don't have a lot of decor items or heirlooms or things like that. So for me, it is probably easier to donate the bulk of what I have and then start over again from scratch. Really get a fresh start. So anyway, didn't mean to go that deep into that goal, but I'm just going to keep these now in the front of my binder so that I see every time I open it to look at my budget what the goals are. And actually, I'm putting this in the wrong spot. I want to put it in the budget section. And because I've already told you that I fully funded my emergency fund, I am going to record that date here. March 11th, 2025. And you're probably going to be seeing this on the 12th, but I'm recording this on the 11th, and this is when I made the transfer. So first thing, before I go over to that other sheet, is I want to note that 257 was the number from game night for this week, and I haven't even transferred that yet. So that's going to go to the Roth IRA. The money from the Etsy payment was enough to cover getting me to fully funded. So let's go over to that section. And in the emergency fund, before I talk about the tracker, I just want to show the worksheet. When you buy the tracker from me, you get the worksheet, and this is what I used to determine how much I was going to need as an emergency fund. Now here it was $12,209, but for the sake of making the tracker more evenly divisible, I bumped it up by $1. This is also based on housing income from last year. So again, my cost of living is a lot lower here, and some of these other numbers have changed too, but I decided to leave the goal where it is because that's still plenty. Now for me, I need 3 months to feel safe, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one is, in my industry, I know that that's about how long it would take to get another job if I were to lose my job. I also have other sources of savings saved up that I don't necessarily have liquid, but that are available to me. So for example, I have a health savings account. So if I were to lose my job, I can use that to pay COBRA premiums and doctor visits and prescriptions and anything else. I also have investments, and if 3 months isn't enough to sustain me through an emergency, then I will sell those investments. It isn't something that I want to do as a first matter, of course, but at the same time, I would rather have that money sitting in an investment account where it can potentially earn more than in liquid savings where it's going to plod along at 4%. So that is how I built up my emergency fund. It lists all of the different sort of mandatory categories that you'd want to consider for expenses, and they're not going to apply to everyone. Certainly not all of them applied to me, but in here are the things that will apply to most people, and it's by section. So everyone needs housing, everyone needs utilities, everyone needs transportation, communications, health, food. Some people will need childcare. household expenses, pets if you have them, and then anything else that isn't listed here. And I just use kind of a slush fund of $2,000 just as a sort of a buffer. So for me, that's how I got to this amount. I can see how it was built, and that's why I feel secure in knowing that that amount is good for me. So next up is the tracker itself. Now, $12,210, of course, is the line. This is where I started back in, oh goodness, that must have been October when I started filming. I was just at about 6,000, so I've essentially doubled it since then, which is fantastic for me. I've really been working hard on this, and I'm proud that it's fully funded. So I've noted here that as of 3/11, it's $12,210.40. That came in with the last interest payment. So I am just going to record on the next page, which is my tracker, that as of 3/11, I contributed $366, and that's what brought me to the $12,210.40. Now, I'm not going to rip this out and throw it away. This will continue to earn interest, and I will continue to keep track of it. But I won't be contributing anymore unless circumstances change that necessitate that I put more into an emergency fund. So, back to this page, I am going to completely fill in the beaker here, or the flask, and I'm looking around for a straight edge. This is not the one that I normally use, but I haven't unpacked the one that I regularly use yet, so this will have to do for the moment. And I'm just going to put a board behind this. I'm using a mild liner, which shouldn't leak, or actually this is not a mild liner. This is a Unipropus. But still, it shouldn't leak because it's a highlighter. But we'll just get this filled in here as neatly as I can. Oops. Which is not very at all. I'm coloring, tracing, shading, blending, anything like that is really just not my forte. I like art, I'm just no good at art, any kind of art, even coloring. And I'm using this straight edge because I used one before, and I'd like the lines to be all relatively straight. So, right. Now I didn't have to fill in that top section, but I decided to anyway, just because we are full to the brim. So, set that aside. And I am going to use my fully funded sticker. These are normally available in my Etsy shop. Oh, good, I drew all over myself. That's great. Good job there, Drew. Fully funded. My Etsy store is still on hiatus, but should be back in a couple of days. I'm hoping Thursday the 13th it will be reopened. Might be this weekend, so don't quote me on that. But as soon as I have it reopened, I will make a post here on YouTube to that effect. So that's fully funded, and I've updated the tracker. And I'm going to leave this in here. I think, that's why I made those stickers, is because it's an important accomplishment, and it's something that I wanted to sort of memorialize as I hit these goals. So here's the blip fund. And in the blip fund, first of all, I need to fill in a section from last week, which I didn't. I had filled in the tracker, but I didn't have the pen unpacked yet. So let me do this here. And actually, I'm going to fill in two. We'll do this first, and then I will update the tracker, because, like I said, I had enough to not only fully fund my emergency fund, but to put more into the blip fund as well. So we'll just fill this in. I'm not as particular with this one as I was with the other. It's just has been that way. So okay. All right, so there we go. And I didn't contribute the usual $200. I actually put in $185 to bring it up to an even thousand. But at $200 a section, that was enough to fill in the fifth section. So almost halfway there. By the end of the month, it will be half completed. Or actually, yeah, by the end of the month, because I'll get my next paycheck this Friday. And then early next week, another $200 will go in So we'll be halfway there. So that means that there's 1, 2, 3 months to go. So by the middle of June, this should be fully funded. Once this is fully funded, then everything goes to the Roth IRA. And then once the Roth IRA is fully funded, like I say, I'll be going back to saving into a liquid savings account for the big move. I'm not going to put that in investments because that's money that I'm going to use in the next year and a half, maybe 2 years if things really start cooking here. But realistically, hopefully by the end of next year, I will be resettled in another state. So I need to keep that money handy rather than tying it up in investments. So that is the savings update. I will give another one on Friday with game night, and actually, you know what, or Monday with game night rather. And actually, now that I think of it, that $257. Oh no, sorry, that's going to go into the Roth IRA. So that's going to go into the Roth IRA. I do have a tracker for that. This was last year's Sloth IRA. Again, also available in my Etsy shop. This one was fully funded because I did fully fund my 2024. It looks like I haven't printed one out yet for 2025, but I will do that because I'm going to use this tracker again because the amount didn't change between 2024 and 2025. I personally think it should have because, like I say, we're still dealing with inflation, but $7,000 is the number the IRS gave us, so that's the number that I'm going to save for 2025. So again, that is the savings update. Thank you so much for watching, and especially for watching through to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. If you like the video, please leave a thumbs up or a comment down below. Subscribe if you're new, share with your friends, and my next video will be out on Friday, and that'll be the weekly budget update, and then back again on Monday for game night. Thank you again for watching, and until I see you in the next one, take care.